What's up guys, Ghostboy here with my final video of the year, and you guys know what that is because it says it in the title. My top 20 favorite albums of 2021. This has been a fantastic year for new music. There was I actually kept track of everything I listened to. I listened to, in all, I think like 87, 88 new releases. I'm gonna do a ranking on my Facebook of everything I listened to, so be sure to check that out if you have Facebook. If you don't, you're fucked. You won't see it ever. So, yeah, and I'm going to leave honorable mentions down in the description of 20 more albums that I loved, because I loved almost everything I heard this year. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It's just, like I said, it's been a great year for music. And, yeah, this is going to be a long video, so let me just get into it. Starting at number 20. Starting at number 20, we have Rise Against, Nowhere Generation. Fantastic comeback record after the disappointment of Wolves in 2017. Still a good record. I won't lie about that. You know, and they've pretty much gone back to 2008. You got your punk, you got your melody. You know, these guys, they don't fuck around. Tim's voice hasn't aged a second. Still absolutely amazing even after all these years. And his lyrics are just some of the best there is. This album is literally a throwback to The Sufferer and The Witness, even though I said this is more 2008. Yeah, I guess I should have thought that through, but whatever. But yeah, throwback to Sufferer, and I can't think of a higher praise than that. Number 19, Between Oceans, Renaissance. Now, I did not know these guys were dropping an album this year, to be honest, but I'm very glad they did. Between Oceans are easily one of my favorite up-and-coming metalcore bands. Their use of summer vibes are present throughout the entire album, and I think that's the best thing about their music, is how summery it is. You listen to it and you just feel like you're at Warped Tour. Fantastic debut from a fantastic band. Number 18, Atreyu with Baptize. Biggest surprise of the year for me. I did not think this was going to be as good as it was. You know, they've pretty much abandoned metalcore and switched to butt rock at this point. But man, it is so much fun. The choruses are catchy as hell and they just get me going. And as generic as the music is, it's just as fun. That's all I have to say about that. Number 17, we have the FatRat with Parallax. Bet you didn't see this one coming, huh? What a fucking vibe this album is. I don't listen to a lot of electronic music, but FatRat is honestly one of the dopest artists out right now. The track listing is a really good balance of instrumental songs, which are vibes for days, and regular songs, which are a lot of fun. And like I said, you know, it's got vibes for days. And for those reasons, it earns a spot on this list. Also, not gonna lie, this might actually be higher on my list in the future, because I've had it on loop for at least 2 weeks at this point. Oh shit. Just saying. Number 16, we have the almighty Waken the Cadaver, Authority Through Intimidation. The Jersey Slam Boys are finally back after all these years. Brutality intensifies, non-stop fucking riff fest, slams that go harder than a gay guy in the men's locker room, grooves that make you want to break shit, Don Campen's pissed off vocals. You just get down and dirty with this shit. I absolutely loved this album, and it certainly lived up to the hype. Number 15, Bushido Code, The Ronin. I had the pleasure of seeing these guys earlier this year at Stomp Out Abuse, and they just blew my fucking mind. Amazing live band, and this is a fantastic debut. Absolutely spirit-crushing thrash metal from the tri-state area, I think. Somewhere around there? Not sure. With crushing riffs, with some good old hardcore mixed within it. Bushido Code are a very bass chungus band that makes very bass chungus music, and I easily consider them one of the best modern thrash bands we have today. Number 14, Depths of Hatred, Inheritance. This is some absolutely beautiful deathcore infused with atmospheric black metal. This album really makes you feel like you're in the woods on a snowy day. It makes you feel, it makes you cold, and allows you to vision a snowy forest, and that's just a beautiful thing. The clean vocals on this are amazing, and the melodies are even better as they just add to this cold journey. Just a perfect album from start to finish. Number 13, Juice WRLD, Fighting Demons. The 4th year in a row where Juice WRLD does not fail to put me down an emotional roller coaster. Judging by his lyrics, you can tell he was one of the realest that ever lived. The beats are fire as fuck, and his lyrics are incredible as they speak to you about tragedy and addiction. Man's been through a lot and was taken from us way too soon. His legacy will live on. Number 12, we have Volumes with Happier. Yes, I am happier. Now, before this, Via was actually the only album for these guys I heard in full. And that's about to change. A solid fusion of nu metal and progressive metalcore, this album is super fun. The grooves are relentless, and they make you want to jump around. However, the strongest aspect of this album is that it balances the djenty grooves and the melodic elements incredibly well. You got your groovy songs, you got your melodic songs, and you have your songs that are a solid fusion of both. Oh, and with Michael Barr back as their vocalist, you can tell these guys are going down the right path. Number 11, we have Caskets with Lost Souls. Now, back on the topic of emotional roller coasters, Caskets are no exception. One of my favorite bands on the fucking planet. I knew this was gonna be amazing, and I was far from wrong. One thing that always stuck out to me about these guys is the emotional level of their songs. Matt's voice is absolutely incredible, and his lyrics are just as good, if not better. You can tell he just poured his heart into this album. Not a single bad song. I love this album. I love Caskets. This album was made for this list. Alright, we're now in the top 10. Starting off the top 10, Board of Osiris, Angel or Alien. Perhaps the riff fest of the year. This was nothing but satisfaction. I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I don't care. This is the best Born of Osiris album. You heard that right. The riffs just make this album. They do not skip a fucking beat with that shit, and Cameron Loesch is just one of the sickest drummers of all time. The songwriting is top notch, and at the end of it all, you're just left with satisfaction. At number 9 is Architects for Those That Wish to Exist. Definitely the most creative album these guys have put out. It mixes everything they've done in their previous albums, doubles the electronics, but at the same time doesn't overdo it, and Sam just pours his heart into it all. I loved this album when it first came out, but haven't listened to it since it came out until October. Then I really fell in love with it. This band just continues to put out fantastic material, and I think Tom would be proud. Coming in at number 8, we have The 500, A World on Fire. Yet another metalcore album with kick-ass melodies that stick with you for days. I never hear people talk about these guys, which is a damn shame because they're a lot of fun. This is also another album that kind of gives off a bit of a winter vibe, and I think that's the strongest aspect here. I don't really have much to say, about this album. It just kicks ass the whole way through, and if you're into metalcore and haven't checked it out, do it. Now, you guys, I'm sure you guys have been waiting for this one. Number 7 is Spiritbox, Eternal Blue. Now, a lot of fans of this band completely jumped ship when this came out, and I will never understand why. This band deserves all the hype that they've gotten this past year. This album is a perfect example of balancing heavy and melodic. The verses are expertly written, and Courtney is a phenomenal vocalist. The atmosphere that builds around each song is almost oceanic in a way. You could hear the color blue. Therefore, this album lives up to its name. And that's why it's this high on my list. Number 6, Wage War with Manic. Now this was something. Unlike most people, I loved Pressure. I thought it was a great album, but this is a major step up. The diversity is through the roof. It's basically a fusion of all their previous albums, and makes for a diverse experience because you get a lot of elements with each song. You got guitar, you got drums, you got electronics, you got hip-hop beats. The large variety of elements make for a very rich sound that, in my opinion, works on every level. Death Roll hit me like a fucking asteroid. I was not expecting that. Wage War definitely won Breakdown of the Year for that, and that song is definitely one of the best I've heard all year. This album is one of the best I've heard all year, hence why it's on the list. Alright, here we are. Top 5. At number 5, Trivium in the Court of the Dragon. What a beast of an album these guys put out. This is a fantastic follow-up to What the Dead Men Say, which came out last year. Matt and Corey continue to shred their way to victory and succeed at doing so. Matt's lyrics are basically just Game of Thrones worship, and they are awesome. What makes Trivium such a great band is how they take influence from literally everything, and they still continue with that even on their 10th album. This is their 10th album, and they're still killing it. Living proof that they are here to stay. Number 4 is Deadside, The Rabbit Hole. This is another riff fest of an album. Been waiting like 3 years at this point for new Deadside, and we finally got it. and here it is in my top 4 of the year. These guys have a sound that takes you on a journey deep into the murky waters of the rabbit hole. They take elements from power metal, melodic death metal, metalcore, and did I mention the beautiful melodies? Well, I did now. They also use a lot of synth along with it, and that adds more of a flavor to both the sound and the journey that is listening to this album. When the line in the first track, "Things are so different from here," that's not a good impression, but whatever. When that comes in, that'll give you chills. I love this album. It is absolutely wonderful, and it more deserves a spot here. Number 3 is Scion, self-titled. Howard Jones and Jared Dines, the duo we always needed and finally got. And boy did they deliver. The best way I can describe this album is, it's like if Killswitch remade The End of Heartache with Jared as a guest feature for every song, so he adds his gentastic riffs along with it. Add a few electronics and double the gent. The Blade is without question one of the best songs of the year, and that showed hope for the album. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know they were dropping an album because I'm stupid. But you guys already know I'm stupid, so whatever. And yeah, so that showed hope for the album, and it delivered like a motherfucker. Howard's cleans have not aged a second, although his high screams have aged like Lindsay Lohan. Still consistent after all these years. The man said it best. He is the Blade. Alright, here we go. 2 and 1. Number 2 is Venue's Solace. This was originally number 1. It's been on repeat since it came out. I still remember the first time I heard these guys when Ignite came out, and I was hooked. A year later, Aspire comes out, vocalist leaves, new vocalist joins, 4 singles drop earlier this year, album dropped in August. Here we are now. This is such a step up from Aspire, and you guys know how much I love that album. Leela is a much better vocalist than Knives, in my opinion, because she has more of a stronger feel in her voice, and as amazing as they both are, I think she speaks to me in her vocals and her lyrics a lot more. I also think the guitar work is a lot better. There's better riffs that really put more of an impact on the listener, and when the first riff of Razorblade's Teeth comes in, you're just like, damn, that was cool. Every other song plays and you're like, damn, this entire album is amazing. This album has to be in my top 2 because it really feels like more than what it is. It isn't super diversive, but it still feels fresh. It feels rich. It tastes like ice cream. You can't get enough of it. You want more of it. It's addicting as fuck. It's re-listenable as fuck. This band does not disappoint, and I don't think they ever will, even though this is only their 2nd album. Fuck me. And coming in at number 1, my favorite album of 2021, Rising Insane, Afterglow. This is easily the most re-listenable album I've heard all year. Not a single skippable track, not a single flaw spotted. It's perfect. You can tell they definitely focus more on lyrics than they did on the music, but that's far from a bad thing. If it sounds good, it sounds good, and this sounds fucking incredible. It brings joy to the very end, from the first riff of the first song to the last riff of the last song. As each song ends, you're excited for what comes next. Solace may have tasted like ice cream, but this is ice cream mixed with intercourse. This album is sex. You listen to a song like Serenade or Meant to Live, and you could just taste Carvel and pussy. I'm gonna get canceled, aren't I? This album has only been out for like 3 weeks. However, it's already become one of my favorite albums of all time. So for all those reasons, plus infinity, this tops my list. Afterglow is by Rising Insane is my favorite album of 2021. Holy shit, that was a long video. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys liked it. Please look at the description for to see what the honorable mentions are. I'm not gonna show you. I'm not a simp. But yeah, let me know what your favorite albums are, because I would love to know. You know, I mean, hell, I like knowing what people like. But yeah, that's it, and I'll see you guys next year. Merry New Year's. Peace. Mange.